right, Ethan.
All right, Dusty.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Celeste, your favorite game of all time.
Here. Oh no. I mean, like it's good, but
yeah.
You know.
You know how it went for me. Yeah. Hey,
I know how it went for you.
It's now my most hated game
I think
of all
it's great.
time. No, it's fine. It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I'm just gonna say the story was bad. It was really bad.
Doesn't like it. He hates it.
Yeah, I do not like it at all. I think it was very poorly told. I think it's very simplistic and overpraised, of course, because that's what people on the internet do. They like praising things, and then vitriolically hating anything that disagrees with them. I'm trying to remain more in the middle, to not be a hypocrite when I talk about people on social media. I did hate it, but I didn't hate it until the very end when I saw there was nothing to it, and that it really was as bad as I thought it was. Be forewarned, I didn't get to see whatever was at the goodbye or the finale or whatever.
The farewell. You never played chapter 9.
I didn't finish.
You couldn't bear it any longer.
I couldn't finish it because I didn't have enough hearts, remember?
Oh, yeah.
I got to the wall of hearts, and I was like, I ain't playing this shit until the end. Fuck that. So I'm missing a big chunk. Maybe it undoes every single piece of bad writing for the past, like, 10 hours somehow.
It doesn't.
Okay, then no. Never mind then. Thank you. But I just know that. But from the very beginning, the game starts, and it's like, okay, like, she talks, that's cute, it's nice to not have a silent protagonist. Sometimes those are useful, but most of the time it's just not having a personality. And then immediately she's hit with an anxiety attack. And then, like, her mom's calling, and you immediately know everything that's gonna happen in the story, like, all at once. This mountain is no longer a mountain to climb. It is a metaphor that has been used since the beginning of storytelling as a metaphor for a challenge. It's just like, I don't know. It's a clear, easy, simplistic metaphor. Like, you can agree with that, right?
Yeah, it's very easy to understand. There's nothing complex going on here. It's right there. It's in your face.
Yeah, nothing new.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's your big like, closing statement.
I mean, that is essentially how I feel about the story.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a normal dude playing video games. I don't really have anxiety. I mean, I get sad. Like, everyone gets sad. I don't think I have depression. I'm pretty sure I'm just a normal guy. But
pretty sure.
For me, the story was just kind of, maybe there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with most people. Yeah, who knows? But. Like, the story is just kind of there for me, you know, whatever.
And I only focus on story when it wants me to. Like I've told you before, I'm not gonna dock points off of Mario because he's saving the princess again. I don't give a fuck. Because they didn't give a fuck. Miyamoto doesn't care. He just wants to make a fun game, and that's it. If you focus on the story, you're kind of missing the point of that game. But in Celeste, if you're just completely skipping the story, you're skipping something they really wanted you to focus on. Like, something that they thought set them apart. It did, but not in a good way.
This guy does not like the story at all.
You know, what I was saying earlier, it's like a mountain's a simplistic metaphor. You slide off it, you start over, or you relapse in this case, because that's something that happens a lot with mental disorders. I know, because I have extreme anxiety and panic disorders. Depression, it's shitty. I'm getting treatment. I'm figuring it out, but it's very simple. You know, you relapse just like addiction. It's just very easy to go back to who you were, and that you represent that on a mountain by falling off it, or it crashes through and you fall all the way to the bottom. In movies and in books, you fucking hurt your leg and you can't keep going on, and you eat your friend.
Yeah, the classic. Yeah.
You gotta eat your friend to survive.
Leg is broken now.
Yeah, it's just some bullshit every time. And at the end, you climb that mountain, you look off into the sights below, and you're like, I can solve my anxiety now because I have climbed this mountain. But you know what it represents. It's just like, if you can climb that, you can eventually surpass
You can overcome.
Yeah, you can overcome. You
Yeah.
can overcome your own limitations. It's just, we all know. All right, it's simple.
All right, we all know. We all know
too
what it
simple. I will say I do like Madeline or Madeline, whatever the fuck you want to say it. I don't know. They didn't feel like voice acting, thank God, because it probably would have been embarrassing, like the story itself.
Wow. This guy's going
No,
hard.
it's because have you ever played Freedom Planet? I'm just gonna give
No.
if anyone watches this, they're just gonna hate me. In Freedom Planet, they have actual voice acting, and it is the cringiest thing in the universe. It's like cringefinity.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so I don't know. So far, not too many indies have good voice acting. Not every indie game's gonna be Hades, where it's like masterful voice acting and everyone's great in it.
That's actually true.
So it's very rare. So I'm glad they kind of went with just generic little dumb noises. It kind of clashes with the seriousness a little bit for me, but I'm not gonna go that far that it bothers me.
Yeah, I get what you mean there. Yeah.
Like sometimes you're trying to have a serious conversation and like Celeste is shrieking too. Yeah.
The little Animal Crossing noise.
Yeah. So Celeste is shrieking in her little bit voice to show you she's being shamed or she's feeling anxious, and it kind of hurts your ears. I don't know. Like I don't know. It's like it's definitely not the first game that talks about mental health. But yeah, overall, I just want to say the story's trash. It's not good.
He hates it.
Yeah, I do.
Like he actually hates it.
It's poorly told.
I'm indifferent.
It's poorly told, and there's too little of it to take it seriously or to actually build anything. You get little short spurts of annoying dialogue of like somebody being epic on Instagram. Theo's an awful character. He's terrible. Even Ethan, who doesn't care, like you say.
I don't like Theo.
Yeah,
personally, that's like the one character. Like everyone else, like
whatever.
You know, Madeline's all right. She's kind of cool. Madeline's all right.
Madeline.
Grandma's kind of whatever, but
yeah.
Actually, most of the characters are just whatever to me. I like Madeline.
Yeah, Madeline.
Everyone else is kind of whatever.
Madeline's fine, which is a disappointment because like, you could have made her interesting if you just didn't make everyone else so shit. Cause like Theo's always like he's just trying to be too hip and cool. Like it feels like a really old person wrote this and tried to connect with the youths, and it's just like like.
That's what he said, and then you looked it up, and weren't you right?
Yeah, and then I looked it up, and
it's like 35.
Yeah, the person who wrote it is
36.
35, and they're like using like teenager lingo that teenagers don't use anymore. Because they move on from year to year to completely different personalities now. It's kind of fucking which is frightening.
It is frightening.
Because before the awful fads lasted for a whole decade, and that's fine, but now fads are yearly, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, they are.
But whatever, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, Theo is just uninteresting. He has no flaws or problems, but he like spills his guts out at one point where he's just like, he kind of has problems. He has a job he doesn't like. He has a sister that's super successful, and he's not jealous of her because that would make him an interesting character. He's just like super uber cool and understanding.
Yeah, like I don't like Theo, but this guy hates him.
Yeah, because he's just too cool. Stop making people so cool. You can like people without them being perfect. Like he's just.
He could have been flawed. That's why I don't like him. Like he kind of just shows up, and you're like, oh, here's another guy. Like what's his deal? Like Madeline's deal is like, her whole anxiety thing. She's trying to get over it. She has that arc going on. So you kind of meet him, and you're like, okay, what's this guy's deal gonna be? What's his problem? Why is he here?
Yeah.
And you're like, there's got to be some magical reason, right? But no, there's nothing. He's just there to kind of hang out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's there to have floofy hair and talk about Instagram and take selfies with you.
Yeah, and I wish they did more with him.
Yeah.
But that's my only personal gripe with the story and characters. Everything else is just
whatever.
I like Madeline. Rest of the story is kind of whatever to me. I'm here for the gameplay. Baby.
Yeah,
that's that good
that's
shit.
when you're gonna
that's
start
that
talking.
tasty shit. That's where I'll come in. Well, I'll let you finish up on the story business.
You let this fucking like dweeb that cares about stories finish up real quick.
Yeah, look at this loser.
Yeah, you're like on your phone right now, just waiting for it to be over. I don't know. And then I remember I told you about that one part where like you start choosing dialogue for the characters. Mm-hmm. And even though you've never done that before, and I don't know if it's because they thought that'd be a way to keep interactivity and like in there while you're talking, but it didn't work. Whatever they were going for, it didn't work. it was just like really broken off, and it just feels like the writer didn't have enough confidence to like build an entire conversation. So she just wrote little tiny conversations and had you like pick through them without her having to actually connect them and make them flow as a normal conversation. It's just like random information about the characters. It's just like exposition dumps about who they are. And it was really boring, and I hated like reading it. Like I hated everything else.
You cynical bastard.
I know, I have no heart. I hate everyone involved. Even though I'm bisexual and I'm dating a trans man, I hate trans people and I hate the gays. You know, I can't talk about this game without that being the situation, but whatever. I don't, you know, I'm involved in these communities. Like, you can't gatekeep me. Like, if anyone tried to, you can't. You have to let me in. It's the rules. You can't gatekeep me out. I'm a part of this, bitch. You can't let me out. I appreciate the little trans colors and not being overbearing with it, but you were overbearing with everything else. And, I don't know. Her anxiety and her depression and her reasonings are all very simplistic and uninteresting. But she herself, you know, it's easy to relate to someone like that. We all have doubts and insecurities and parts we don't like about ourselves. Mm-hmm. They didn't do anything interesting with that fucking guy from the Oshiro from the hotel.
Oshiro, the hotel guy.
That's another guy. He was just there. It's just there.
Yeah, he just ended up being kind of a lost cause.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, he gets a nice happy ending. He gets to eat pie with everybody.
I actually didn't like that. I don't like that he showed up at the end.
Yeah, because
why did he leave? Like, when did he have a change of heart?
Yeah, why? Why did he have a change of heart? Like, what's the point?
When he saw Madeline leave and he's like, "Oh, I'm such a failure. I better get my shit together." I don't know.
Yeah, he just chased her out. Why would her leaving be a sad moment for him?
Yeah, that didn't exactly line up.
Correlation. It's because
that's probably my second least favorite character. If I had to pick something else,
out of 4 characters, your second least favorite. Or 5 characters, whatever. I forget battle line. It's because they're the same. You know, it's the same thing. But I think that another thing I told you about Oshiro is that like this game's too afraid to have any grayness in its story. Like, maybe it's a little too complicated, or maybe, like, they don't know how to put in story and not bore people that just want to play, like you, that just want to play the goddamn game and have fun. Mm-hmm. Cause,
I mean, like, I didn't mind the story. It was there. I read through it, you know. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
And then I moved on, and then went to play the game, you know. I was, like, when I say indifferent, I absorbed it. I didn't ignore it. Yeah, but... Yeah. It didn't resonate with me personally, which is fine. Yeah, you know.
Not every story is for everyone, but this story shouldn't be for anyone, really. No, I'm just kidding. It's I'm just making a joke.
This guy does not like it at all.
I just hate it, which is fine. I'm allowed to hate things, just like you're allowed.
He's allowed to hate
to
things,
be wrong with your opinion about this game story. But like Oshiro was just a nice, kind man that didn't do anything wrong, and then Battleline tries to save you from wasting your time there. But Madeline, you know, she's just trying to find a way to make herself feel good about herself. And I've been there, because when you're an asshole, or you feel like an asshole, you want to do good by people, even if they're bad people. But, like, the concept of somebody being a lost cause, I feel like that's something they talk about, just like they mention depression and anxiety, but they don't actually want to deal with the grayness and the, like, all the shit that's so complicated about those things. Like, someone being a lost cause and you not being able to help them, that's too dark and sad. You can't actually show that. That's why he shows up for pie at the end. Because, like, he can't be an actual lost cause. He has to show up for pie and be happy.
Yeah. That is kind of... I just wish he wasn't there. It didn't have to be a grand celebration with, like, the 3 characters you met along the way. Yeah. He could have been absent, and that could have been the end of his story, and it could have just been, like, a gray kind of area, and it would have been a more interesting topic, I think.
Or they could have even addressed it at the end, like, you know, if he wasn't the way he was, he could have been eating here with us.
Yeah, like, maybe they mention him, but, you know, he's not there. Yeah. That'd be a more interesting dynamic, but, you know.
And, like, the final one I guess I'll talk about is, like, the grandma, who's an asshole. He's like, she's just an asshole. Like it's not that they're trying to pull off that, like, wise old person thing, where it's like they know what's gonna happen and they've seen so many things, but she just kind of laughs at you and your failures. She's kind of just a dick about it, and then at the end she's like, At the very end, when you fall down the mountain, spoilers or whatever, if anyone's watching this, they already know what this fucking game's about. You fall off the mountain at one point, and she's like, I've never seen somebody hate themselves as much as you do. And it's like, you don't really get a feel of that. Like, I don't feel like Madeline hates herself to that extent.
No.
She kind of just feels kind of passive, and like she has problems like anyone else, but like to the point that that old woman, who's probably seen hundreds of people come through this mountain, she hates herself the most. I doubt that. Like, it doesn't seem that intense of a hatred, of a self-hatred to me. It just didn't come off that way. So I don't know. She just laughed at you, and it's kind of grating and asshole-ish. And then at the end, At the end,
I mean, I guess they kind of have to. They have to point to extremes to make the player feel something. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then at the end, she's been rooting for you the whole time because blah blah blah. Who cares? She just has been. So you can, because you can't dislike somebody. She couldn't be like the representation of how easy it is for you to fall back down when people make the slightest comment at you. Like, somebody making fun of you for your disorder can make you spiral very easily. She can't be a bad person though, because that's too dark. That's too gray. It's like, it's too interesting. It can't be a part of Celeste's story.
That would actually be really funny if she was like just this like she was an asshole, and then it turns out like she's not a sage or like a nice old lady deep down. She's just an asshole. She's just a jaded old lady sitting on the mountain.
She's just a jaded asshole that thinks everyone's a failure except for her. No, or like I told you, or a failure like her. Maybe she failed at crossing the mountain and climbing up it.
Yeah, now she's
she's bitter, and she never got to discover who she
bitter.
is.
Yeah.
And she's waiting, and she hopes everyone else fails because that means that you can't do it, and she's a failure. And it's like something interesting. I don't know. I'm just pulling that out of my ass. Like, it could be.
It doesn't. Yeah, and you know, it doesn't. There doesn't have to be like the old lady doesn't have to be an asshole. And Oshiro didn't have to be a lost cause. It's just those are just possible ways it could have been made more interesting.
Yeah, just anything to make the characters interesting, or like you want to talk to them.
Yeah, like I could have. If the writing and the characters were more interesting to me personally, I might have been more invested. I just wasn't because they weren't, I guess.
Yeah.
As harsh as that might sound.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't dislike it, you know. I sat there, I looked at it, and went, yeah, that's
But
cute.
even simplistic characters, like recently, like you got me to play Bug Fables. Thank you again. That was a masterpiece.
Fuck yeah.
But,
anyone who's watching this, play Bug Fables. Don't edit this out.
Yeah.
Play Bug Fables.
I won't.
Do it!
Play Bug Fables, guys.
Now!
Yeah. Like that has very simple characters, but they're very likable and they have depth to them. And it's easier in an RPG, but you know what I mean. You can make a simple story and not have it suck. You can have a simple story and not have it suck. It's fine. You don't have to be super complicated all the time, but this game just had nothing. It was too simple, and nobody was interesting. At most, they're annoying, or you kind of wonder why they're even there, like Theo and Oshiro or whatever. With Theo, like the closest they got was like when all those eyes were on the wall, and I was like, oh, maybe he has like a social media addiction, and that's how he escapes his anxiety.
I was thinking like, oh, is he actually gonna have like some sort of development going on here?
Yeah, maybe you find out he's not that good a guy. Maybe he overly depends on people to give him positive feedback, and he feeds off of that.
Yeah. You know, that's a very prominent thing.
Yeah, especially nowadays. Like, they have a very Twitter sense of humor, so that could be a good warning for people that like this type of humor to kind of look behind and remember that it's people, and they're not gonna be completely wholesome chungus, like, completely sweet to you. They're people.
Wholesome chungus 100.
Yeah, they're not gonna be perfect, and they might be using you to make themselves feel better, and that would have been a good lesson, but, you know, they don't know how to make Theo likable and also have problems, so they didn't bother. I don't know. Maybe they've gotten better at writing, but for this, it wasn't good.
So, I guess the last character. What did you think of Battlein?
I think Battlein...
I never really asked you this.
Yeah, Battlein was probably a really probably the biggest wasted opportunity, aside from just the idea of dealing with these sort of topics. Because Battlein could have been something interesting. Like, with Oshiro, she could have genuinely been protecting... I always want to call Madeline Celeste. It's like that Metroid thing with people who don't know anything about games. It's like, oh...
Yeah, like Legend of Zelda. Yeah, the
you're
classic
playing
Legend
a Zelda,
of Zelda,
huh?
Link of Zelda. Yeah,
Zelda
yeah,
and
yeah.
his sword, my favorite.
You fucking old man. This guy's played like 500 games and he's still an old man when it comes to video games.
I can't, like, I want to call her Celeste, but I know she's Madeline. So Madeline is just like, it's that part of you that you think is bad. And it's those bad habits you have. It's your more aggressive side, it's your more impatient side. It's that side of
the part that you're not proud of.
It's the part of that you're not proud of, but it's also the part that keeps you safe, and it's the part that makes sure that you do things right, and you know, it's just a necessary part, like every part of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what they're trying to convey, but like instead they just show it with a hug. They show it with a little boss battle, which would have been way cooler if I actually cared about these characters. The music was good. We'll talk about music later after gameplay, I guess.
We will talk about music later.
'Cause I have another controversial opinion about that. But Madeline was, I think she just got mishandled because she's just shown as being an asshole, and she's not right. And she causes the problem with Oshiro because, like, she had an outburst because she just wants to protect Madeline, and she's not fucking listening because she just wants to help blindly. And, you know, I don't know. They didn't really explore that enough to make it, to show that the reason she exploded was because she was impatient that Madeline wasn't being careful and was just helping this strange man ghost. Like, that was really creepy and talking to himself in an abandoned place. Like, you just gotta move on sometimes, man. But no, she just screams and then, like, it triggers a whole bunch of shit. And then at the end, like, Madeline tries to get rid of her, and, you know, that would upset anyone. If somebody were to try to get rid of me, I wouldn't be happy. But, you know, they hug, and then once you... The only part that worked with the Madeline is at the end when they're together, and they understand each other, quote-unquote. Because we're told they understand each other now a little better. They can help each other up the mountain, and they scale the mountain much faster than they did when you weren't in sync with yourself. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And they combine.
Yeah.
And a little pink hair.
When you understand...
2 dashes. Let's go.
Yeah. When you understand yourself, and when you have a hold of the reasons you are the way that you are, you have an easier time. You're one person. You're no longer split into different parts of yourself. So you can work on everything much faster. You can get a hold of yourself easier. It's just like it was a good idea, but like the rest of it wasn't built up properly, so I just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like, I liked it. I liked the way it went, but I didn't think that hard about it. I just looked at it and went, oh, you know, bad self, not accepting. Oh, there she accepted it. Hooray!
Yeah.
You know, it did its job for me, but
Yeah.
I guess when you take a deeper look at it, you know,
Yeah.
you can come to your own conclusion, like you have.
Yeah. So at Battleline, mostly just like a wasted opportunity. Because it's very cool that the only upgrade you get to your character is because she solved her personal problems, and that upgrades her. Literally. Like, that's a good idea. That's kind of cute. But aside from that, not a good story, I think. I don't know, just throwing the words anxiety and you know, shit like that in there, and then having vaguely, like, Twittery Instagram people in there with floofy hair, and they're, like, twinkish, and that makes them likable. It doesn't. It doesn't make them likable. And the whole story was just, I didn't like it. That's all I had to say.
He didn't like it.
That's me.
I didn't mind it. He didn't like it, I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
That's that.
You get the perspective of a person who looks at stories as deep as they can. I'm not the smartest fucking guy. Maybe I missed something. Who fucking knows? But I don't think I did. I think this is all more shallow than even my small brain is. And I just didn't like it. And for you, that's somebody that just liked gameplay, you could get over it, and you thought it was kind of nice, but overall it was just there, right? Like, it was just whatever.
Yeah, it was just there. It filled in its role. I mean, like, looking at it, I was kind of like, you know,
take a good look
if
at
I was
it.
actually someone with these issues, I could probably relate to it and have a stronger opinion on it,
Yeah.
but I'm not. Which is, you know, again, that's fine.
And I'll admit my
You
bias
can't relate
maybe,
to everyone with everything.
like, having these disorders, I have a more intense reaction to it being misrepresented, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
if this is a more shallow version to just get people to even think about mental health and whatever, that's fine. Because some people live their entire lives and don't think once about the ball of meat
if it was
in their
like
head.
a message to the general public, that's
Yeah, but
you know.
but people who hail it as something deeper or something new and fresh, I don't know. I feel like they should take a closer look and really decide. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Aside from that,
You're gonna piss off like 3 of the 5 people who watch it.
yeah, they already clicked off when I said I didn't like the story.
Yeah.
They hailed me as transphobic and evil. It was instant. I didn't like it. But yeah, I'm done with the story. You want to talk about the thing that actually matters to you, the gameplay? Play Celeste.
Okay, so beautiful, beautiful mechanics. Like it starts off so simple, like, and you just have, you have your normal jump, you got your normal, and you get your normal dash, and that's really all you have at the beginning. I mean, you can cling onto walls, you can climb up walls.
Yeah, which is nice. That was very unique.
Which is nice, you got a little wall cling, little wall jump. Wall jump's kind of weak, but like it's supposed to be, so it's fine. Like they designed those core mechanics very well, and then I actually think it's brilliant that they don't introduce any more new mechanics.
Yeah, that's
like they introduce level mechanics.
I always love
right?
that.
Yeah. Like, like the bubbles and like the little chapter 2, the dash blocks, and then like wind. There's level mechanics, but your core mechanics do not change for the whole game until the very end. I mean, you get a second dash.
Yeah.
And in chapter 7, and then at the very end, like the top of the mountain, it's like the last, like you're doing that little flag thing where there's like 20 flags at like the top, like the last 10 flags or something.
Yeah.
There's this jump, and it's like it's clearly impossible. And you're like, okay, well, what the fuck? And then the game fucking introduces a new mechanic in the final area of the final level, and it's that little like dash wall jump where you dash up and then wall like jump away from the wall, and it gives you like a super boost upwards. And that's why the wall jump is so weak, is because that exists.
Oh, okay.
And that was brilliant to me. I've never seen a game just introduce a new mechanic like that. And like it didn't even need to. Like without like I said, the base mechanics were beautiful, but then they introduced that. And then it goes even farther. And you don't know this, but you get a wave dash later on, where if you hold, there's 2 different versions of it.
Like
you learn one early, where if you hold bottom right and you dash, like into the ground bottom right,
yeah,
like a perfect bottom right, like a perfect angle, you do like a really fast like forward dash that shoots you forward really low and really fast.
Yeah.
And then there's a harder version where you jump and then you dash diagonal into the ground, jump again, and you do the wave dash, but you keep your second dash. Because when you duck and you dash, you lose the dash.
Yeah.
But if you jump, dash into the ground and jump off the ground, you get the wave dash and keep a dash in the air. So it's like they took that mechanic that's already fairly difficult to like implement like quickly and well into a level, and then they built on top of it even further. And chapter 9 is just full of using all those mechanics to their fullest potential, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful ride. And I'm actually upset that you never got to finish it.
Yeah.
But I know it's definitely a barrier to get all those crystal hearts. You would have had to do all the B-sides, possibly C-sides, and then like gotten
it may sound silly to some
hidden
people,
crystal
but I
hearts.
genuinely got so annoyed and turned off by the story that I didn't finish the game proper. Like
Yeah.
I finished it, but I didn't 100% like the BC sides or anything. I didn't do that. So
Yeah. I told this guy he should do it because like there's no story attached to the B and C sides.
yeah, that's why they
like,
were
at
my
all.
favorite part of the game because they were just
like you played the B sides as you played the game, right?
yeah, like whenever I unlocked.
But you didn't do all of them. You only did the first 4, didn't you?
I only did the.
Because the 4th one took you like forever.
It took me a good while. Yeah, I think so.
Well, yeah, I talked about the mechanics. Before I talk about the levels, I do want to know what your thoughts are on the normal levels, and then I want to know your thoughts on the B-sides relative to the normal levels.
Well, like you said, the mechanics are awesome. I always love when a game is known as whenever I play a game that's known as difficult and there's like a very simple move set that doesn't change. I get excited because that means they're gonna work on the level design rather than bullshit upgrades they put on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of just giving you some random upgrade, and then the entire next level is just arbitrarily based around that one upgrade you got.
Where it's like, hey, you
and
got
just do that every level.
not to
That's
diss
the thing.
Zelda because I love Zelda, but it's like, hey, this dungeon is about boomerangs. All you're using is the boomerang now.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit. But Celeste, it was delicious. It was a delicious course. Literally, there's like one little thing I didn't like that, like, when you hold onto a wall, when you start sliding, you gain velocity, so it kind of feels kind of slimy when you're trying to time it. But I'm sure you could get used to it because I didn't play as much.
Yeah,
as
I mean, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to feel like that.
Yeah.
Like you're not supposed to be able to grab onto a wall for too long. You're supposed to start sliding.
No,
even
after the stamina runs out, like your slide, because like in Mario, your slide remains consistent. Like when you new super.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that. When your stamina runs out, you just get owned.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. I know.
That's intentional.
But I just don't. I don't like it. It feels gross and it feels too fast.
Well, good, because you're not supposed to.
Okay, fine. But like sometimes there are parts of the level where they want you to slide down, but you go too fast, so then you miss your mark, and then it just kind of gets slimy and annoying.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But it's not. I guess that's a small gripe you could have.
Very small.
I respect it.
Very small, personal preference. But aside from that, I guess I liked how each level was going. Like the Forsaken City was the first one, because like the prologue's a bunch of bullshit. It's just then introduce you to the mechanics and everything. It's whatever. Yeah. There's like 3 potholes and then you climb up a wall. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it just shows you how to play.
Yeah.
That's simple and easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I like how quick it was. You get right into the actual game.
Yeah, it isn't a Mario and Luigi 45-minute introduction to
Fuck.
the concept of video games
my
themselves. Goodness. Yeah, I get it. I like it. So the Forsaken City was just like a good starter world. It was just a nice, snowy, couple spikes here and there. You're just getting your bearings. You're just kind of grooving on through, and then the B-side. Ah, man, I can't remember the B-side too well. What?
It's just a harder version.
Yeah.
Like it's just.
They're all just.
It uses those platforms a lot. You know, the ones where you dash on them and then they go.
Yeah.
And like you got to jump off of them and carry that momentum with you.
Yeah.
It only makes you do that once in the A-side at the very end.
And it's the whole
part. It utilizes that a lot in the B-side. It's just generally a tougher, like more precise level.
Yeah, I love the B-sides because one, they didn't have any story, and that's just great.
And he hated it, yeah. So that's an automatic bonus for you.
And before we even talk about music, it's also a bonus because they bring in like more unique like artists to do songs for each of the B-sides.
He personally liked the B-side music better.
I like the B-side music. I did not like the main music for Celeste. Oh, for the most part.
We will talk about.
Yeah, later. But and then thirdly, it's because there's like in Mario games, there's always like 1 or 2 really weird little concepts, and you never get to explore them. And I always like I'm a little more hungry after a level now that I'm older. In a Mario level, I'm like, man, I wish there was a really hard version of like this level.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's what B-sides are. They just explore.
They take they take the mechanics, they build on them, and they just go wild, and it's hard.
Yeah,
they are hard.
They're hard.
You die 100 times at least, unlike the early ones. Hundreds of times on the later ones.
I died like 600s to 900s of times. I never reached 1,000, but I did die a lot. I died a lot, and it was fun. If this game,
maybe maybe one day you can come around once you've calmed down about the story, and you can just kind of enjoy the.
I feel like I might come back
for what it is.
because like it's just such a like the clash between how bad the story is and how amazing the game itself is. It just like throws me off. I don't know what to think. It's like it's not. Ironically, my opinion on this game is very gray, unlike the story, which is black and white. It's just like it's so complicated.
Just overall, because there's
there's so much to love, but like all completely on the gameplay side, none on the story side. So it clashed too much for me. But I probably will come back one day, and then maybe I'll.
I hope you do, because I do think you'll really enjoy the later on levels. They're a treat.
And what I played, and I did
really
play a little bit of B-side 6, I think, because I got the cassette tape casually there.
Right.
The normal levels are just hard enough. That I think an average person that doesn't even play many platformers, they could eventually get through it if they just try.
Yeah, because there's so many checkpoints. Like, every single
screen,
room is a checkpoint.
Every screen's a checkpoint, which is nice. It's not too much pressure.
This is one thing we've never talked about.
Yeah.
It's so fast when you die, you respawn immediately and you just go.
Like it's like
that is beautiful.
I love it. It's like instant death, instantly me back in the game, me starting over and over. There's no delay.
That's awesome.
It's great. Yeah, I love that. And then they sprinkle little strawberries in case a screen isn't hard enough. They sprinkle a strawberry.
Oh yeah, strawberries.
Yeah, they sprinkle a strawberry in a level.
Haven't even talked about those yet.
And I really like the concept of that, because if a screen's hard enough, I don't want the strawberry. You can keep it. I'm struggling on the level enough.
He's struggling already. Yeah.
But if I'm kind of getting bored and there's not much going on, and I see a strawberry, I'm like, hey, some challenge.
Like, oh yeah, now I can make
It's
you know.
very
For
well
me,
designed. I love this game's game.
Yeah.
The gameplay.
You love the gameplay.
Yeah.
Such a stark difference. This guy 15 minutes ago was fucking tearing this game story to shreds, and now he's just gushing about it.
It's beautiful.
That's why it's so great for you, huh?
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
What a fucking weirdo. You're fucking
It's a
weirdo.
beautiful game to play, an awful story to witness.
Me personally, I adored the strawberries. Every single level went for every single one. Doesn't matter if I was already struggling with the room. Fuck it, it's getting twice as hard now.
Maybe
if I'm going for it.
If I hadn't been so soured, I probably would have gone.
If he wasn't so soured, maybe this guy you like 100%.
I love it. I love
but,
it.
I'm
100%ing Crash 4 right now. Because I'm a psychopath.
He's having a great time doing that.
Yeah, I hate myself.
I'll be joining him shortly. That'll be a treat.
That'll be fun.
But yeah, I loved finding them. If I missed a strawberry, like I'd go back in and I'd go and find it. It is nice how once you beat a level, it's broken into segments and it tells you which strawberry you're missing from what segment and even the order.
Yeah.
And then if you pause, there's a little tracker at the bottom that tells you if you've missed it or not.
I really
that's
appreciated
awesome.
and loved that. That was so good.
That's some good UI. That's some good what's it called?
Collectibles can be I know what you mean. Like the UI, it's just very nice. That they show you where the mixtapes are, they show you where the strawberries are when you pause it. It's just so good. I wish every collectible game had that.
Yeah, there's no reason. You can keep it hidden. Some of them I had to look.
Yeah.
And
even though you know where they are.
For the real puzzle challenges, the real ones where you really have to fucking think is the crystal hearts.
Yeah.
The ones hidden in the A sides.
Yeah.
You get a crystal heart for beating a B side, you get one for beating the C side. But the A sides have crystal hearts as well, but they are all hidden, and they're all hidden very well.
Except for one, which I actually figured out right away, and you did not because you haven't played Mario Bros. 3.
No, okay, well that's that one's different. That's a callback. There's one in chapter 4. There's the little white platform. It's the same platform as same look as the one in 1-1. It's in 1-1, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, in Mario Bros 3, where you duck on it for a few seconds, you drop through it, and you go to
you go into the background,
the bonus world,
and
you go into the background, yeah, and you do the same thing here, and it was brilliant, and I did not figure it out because I have not played Mario 3 like a dumbass. I need to play.
You were like a
That's my
blind
punishment,
man
honestly,
feeling
fair
around
punishment to me.
But
But this guy figured it out right away.
Yeah, but that's because I played it. It was fun.
Such a sick one.
That's literally the only one I got because I played Mario 3 before.
Yeah, the other ones are all so well hidden though.
And I tried to look for them.
Spoilers for you because I know you haven't gotten most of them.
Yeah.
But the first one where all the birds go in different directions and then you have to watch the screen and it flashes and you have to dash in the particular order. The second one is so genius where you have to dash you have to dash into a loading zone and then you get your dash back. You fall down into the previous loading zone, and you keep going back and forth between loading zones. That's how you get one of them.
Really?
You dash back and forth between loading zones because your dash refreshes between loading zones. So even though you're not hitting the ground, you're continuously dashing up. That one was so genius.
That sounds fun.
That was one of the last ones I got. It just took me ages.
That sounds fun.
Another one you have to find you get a key in the mirror mansion, then you have to find a secret passage so that you keep the key through the key door, and then you use it on a later key door that's completely optional. Brings you to an entirely different part of like a hidden passage in this fucking mirror mansion, and then it's sick.
Yeah, it was fun.
There's a lot of good shit. Oh, and then the chapter 7 one where it's a bunch of mini challenges to get all the gems, and then you bring them all.
Yeah, that was fun.
And you get the last one.
Okay, chapter 2, that was when you are introduced to those nebula blocks where you can continuously dash through them. That was a cool mechanic. I like that.
I did like that mechanic too. Also, you have not seen all that mechanic has to offer. The B and C sides expand on it.
I played.
That's what's so beautiful about it. You did do the B side?
Yeah, I did the first 4
B-sides.
B-sides.
So you know,
remember?
When you jump out of it, you have all that momentum, right?
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
It
was so fun. It's like I told you. It's like if Mario games expanded on their individual level gimmicks, it's everything I could want. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Man, if only Mario did that. I mean, I guess that's why we got hacks out there.
Yeah, we got people doing God's work out there.
We do.
Yeah, and just talking about the game makes me want to give this game a higher rating because I was a little mean on it because of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it does not deserve it. Whoever designed this game Like they're in a master class of designing games. Like they're good at this shit. I don't know, but yeah, chapter 2 was a really solid, really fun, like, well, second part. It was good. It was a good building without going too far.
And then you know, when Battle Line chases you, that was a neat mechanic.
Yeah, it was fun.
Kind of, you had to go fast. You couldn't retrace your steps too much. Shadow Mario kind of, yeah. The Shadow, the Galaxy 2 Shadow Mario thing.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it a lot. And the B-side was great. Expanded on it. From like all my B-side experiences were great. I liked them all, except maybe.
That's why I'm hoping you'll come back, because like 6, 7, and 8 in particular kicked my fucking ass, but it was so good.
Maybe.
Like I have like 700 deaths on each of them. C-sides too.
What about chapter 3? What'd you think about the Celestial Resort?
The Celestial Resort. I mean, that's like one of the fan favorites. People really like that one. Like the little dark cloudy things as your enemies.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine.
I was confusing it with something else. Never mind. Yeah.
Were you thinking of chapter 5?
I was thinking of. Let me look. Reflection.
The Mirror Mansion.
Chapter 6.
You're thinking of chapter 6.
I don't know why.
Your brain's fucked up.
Yeah, they're completely different.
It's not even close.
Yeah, I know. They're like completely opposites. No, I like the resort. I didn't like the story. Obviously, it was very intrusive and annoying.
Yeah, I liked the resort.
It was challenging.
It didn't like stand out to me relative to the other chapters. Like, okay, here's my thing. I like every single chapter in terms of gameplay. I'd say 4 is probably my least favorite, but that's not saying much. Like, it's still way up there. And then probably 7 and 8 are my favorites, just because 7 kind of combines everything you've already done, like all the mechanics you've done, which is always, that's such a trope. Like, that's such a common thing, but I love it. I'm a sucker for that trope.
It's fun.
And then 8 with like the on-off switch kind of lava ice mechanic thing.
Yeah, that was great. I love that shit.
Yeah.
And the B-side for this, like, I think that was more noteworthy to me than the normal side.
The B-side in chapter 3 is the first time I was going to talk about this.
Yeah.
It is the first time the game kicks your ass.
It's great.
That is a hard level.
The carpet that like turns into like a hazard after you leave it is amazing.
Yeah.
What a great concept.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit concept. I love it.
So awful.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a brilliant, like,
This is a good idea.
honestly, I actually changed my mind. I changed what I said earlier about chapter 3 being okay. Chapter 3 is such a step up in difficulty. I actually like it a lot. Like, just 2 compared to 3. Like, you know, 1 you start out, 2 is like a little bit harder, 3 is a pretty big step up from 2. Like, that's when the game
I think my
really
problem
cranks
with it was that the reason I got it confused with 6 is because I had the same at a much smaller scale, but in chapter 3 I felt a little exasperated because I wanted to explore it all, but I never know which way the right way to go is, and then I accidentally go the right way, I get locked off, and now I have to replay the whole thing.
Yeah,
and it's
it'd be a little confusing, because sometimes up would be the right way, sometimes it was down,
Yeah.
and like if you go the wrong way, unfortunately you're just kind of blocked off.
Yeah, and because of the story, like, you can't go back and explore. You need to have it blocked off. So
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the first time I played chapter 3, I missed a lot and I had to go back for a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I did.
It isn't
I mean,
as painful as in other games, because again, they have that really awesome, like, here's the
it's a
berries
really
you missed.
good system to go back.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge deal that, like, it was confusing.
It's just frustrating. in the
Like,
moment.
it's kind of like we would try to go the wrong way and we'd end up going the right way, basically.
Yeah, and it's annoying. You're like, I like
and then, like,
exploring.
oh, I wanted to explore that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that feeling a couple times. But, you know, it is what it is.
It doesn't get really bad until chapter 6. Chapter 3 only had a little bit of it, and like a couple.
Chapter
times.
6, there's that one giant open area.
One giant open area. The whole goddamn thing's a giant open area. It feels awful. It's terrible.
I mean, there's one in particular
I feel like I know
with
what.
like
Yeah.
6 different fucking different ways you can go.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm pretty sure the first time I was there, I just completely like skipped over it and was like, oh, well, I
fucking
guess I'll go fuck
ridiculous.
myself. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Chapter 3, yeah, that was a great chapter. It was a big step up from chapter 2, but like in a good way.
Yeah, they keep.
In terms of difficulty.
It's
like,
only until chapter. What was it? What was the fucking wind level? Was that the summit?
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4. Oh, okay. Then that's when. That's like it's immediately at chapter 4 where it kind of goes backward for me a little bit in quality, honestly.
That is my least favorite level in terms of design.
Because it was
like
a
every
steady...
other, it has the least the least personality in my opinion. It's just like sky level.
Yeah.
And it's like
the
mechanics are still good. They're just not as good as the rest of the game, if you ask me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
like
as organic. Like the wind is like such an easy way to get like fuck somebody in a platformer. Like, oh, how do we add difficulty to this? Put wind in it. Like they'll struggle with that. It's like it's kind of cheap and it doesn't feel good to me.
Right. I actually, Chapter 4 is I'm a little bit, just recently, like a few months ago, I did the golden strawberry for Chapter 4. So that level is now near and dear to my heart because of that. But because like I had such a perfect experience with trying to get the golden strawberry there. It was the perfect level of difficulty for me. Like I tried over and over again, and like I would always get close, and like I knew I could do it. You know, like the kind of graph of like skill level versus difficulty.
Yeah.
And like when you land right perfectly at the upper right corner, where the highest difficulty and also your highest skill level meet, and you're like in that zone.
Yeah, you're
That's
in that
where I
perfect
landed.
little area. Yeah, a lot of the challenge in the normal sides reached that for me. And whenever it was falling short, they gave me a strawberry to get right back into it. It was great. But overall, Chapter 4 is a dip in quality for me, and it very tiny dip.
I'd say it's a small dip.
Very tiny dip.
It's still a solid level.
And
that introduces the bubbles as well, which are fun.
I wasn't too crazy about the
blue
bubbles. At the beginning, but then I got a handle on them, and I did.
Yeah, they're a little weird at first, but once you get used to them, I think they're pretty neat.
And the B-side was.
You did do the B-side of Chapter 4.
That was fucking
nuts.
One you did. That was insanity. I loved it.
Yeah, that's the first level that really kicked your ass, huh?
Yeah, because the other one was hard, but this is the first one that kicked my ass, and it was fun. After that, the next gimmick, what was it? Chapter 5, the Mirror Temple.
It's the Mirror Mansion with the red bubbles that travel much further.
Yeah, they go all the way to the end of the screen of that screen.
Yeah. Those ones were great.
I love those, yeah. And
I think those are better than the blue ones.
They're way better, and then you get like that moment that's why I love puzzle games. You get that moment that clicks with you where it's like, oh, if I unlock that path, I can put the bubble all the way through and go into other screens.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, that was
when,
great.
You spent like a part of the level like unlocking the whole path. You're like making one path for that one bubble.
Yeah, it's so fun.
That was cool.
And you don't realize what you're doing until you're at the bottom with.
No, you don't know what you're doing, and then you realize you put the pieces together. That is a brilliant level,
so
and there's so many secrets there, in that as well. And I love that.
It was great.
You probably didn't find them all.
I tried to, but I didn't. It was fun.
There's a lot there. Like the crystal heart's like insane there. There's like a shortcut at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then there's like the cassette tape as well. It was pretty hard to find. There's so many branching paths there, but that's an example of that one isn't confusing because it's the way forward is always to the right.
Yeah. It's a lot better.
So you can always fully explore the up and down areas, and then you can just continue.
And you won't make the final ascent until you're ready because you have to climb into the balloon and the bubble.
Yeah, you have to get in there. And
yeah. So overall, I think that's like getting right back on track in terms of like the quality is high again.
I agree.
It goes back up.
That was a fantastic level.
I loved it. Aside from that,
and then I guess
how's the B-side
I take the reins from here for the B-sides because you have not played them.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, we've kind of already covered what the B-sides are. They're just, they take the mechanics that were introduced in the A-side and just expand on them further.
Yeah.
Give better challenges. You actually mentioned this once, how, like, strawberries will often, like, you can add an extra challenge to a room, whether or not, the room was challenging in the first place, in my case. In your case, you would just do it if the room wasn't,
spicy enough
in itself. But the B-sides are essentially just a bunch of strawberry challenges in a row.
Yeah, and I like that they didn't waste time
is.
with strawberries being in B-side and stuff like that.
No, there are no strawberries in B-sides.
None.
It's just raw gameplay. There's no secrets. You just have to fucking beat this hard-ass level.
Find that thing.
It's just, it's raw. It's just this raw, hard level. Go for it.
Great.
Do it. Take the mechanics you just learned.
Don't worry about collectibles. Don't worry about secrets. Just try and beat this hard shit we designed for you. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that good shit.
So yeah, I guess.
And the beautiful thing is, like, they're completely optional.
Yeah, they are.
You do not like it, like you know, we're gamers.
Yeah,
so
we're
of course we'd want to do
gamers.
it. But if you aren't into that shit, then you know,
Yeah.
go ahead.
If you're only
continue
in
on with
here
game,
for
you don't
the
have to do
amazing
it.
story, then you can just play a normal game.
Yeah.
Again, this is a game that's for pretty much any skill level, and it even like what is it, like a celebration of speedrunning? Like it's such a like it has a timer built into it. Like,
there's literally this is so good for any skill level.
Yeah.
If you're like a normal player and you just want to play through all the A sides, you can do that.
You want to play through a slightly
baby,
hard game, then it's good for you.
Yeah. If you're super baby, there's even an assist mode. If you really just care about the story.
I didn't even remember about that.
There is.
Super Kong comes
so
in
you can
and helps
just,
you? Is that what it was?
If you really don't want to stick to it and have the challenge going. Although I do think the challenge is part of the experience.
Yeah, the point of it.
It's kind of the point of the whole entire thing. Like, if you're there for the story, the challenge is kind of part of the story.
Yeah.
So
it's like looking up a walkthrough
some
on a
people,
puzzle game. It's like, why are you even playing this then? Like, what's the point?
Yeah. But I mean, you know, some people just want to enjoy it for what it is. So it is what it is. So you can do baby mode, you can go normal mode. Then if you're like us and
like
you're fairly experienced, you can go a little bit harder, and you can go for the B-sides, and even this, you could take that as far as you want. Like maybe you just want a little bit of a challenge. Yeah. I was gonna say like you, but I know that you actually would have played everything. If
I
would have
gone all the way if it.
Yeah, you would have. But some people, you could just have a taste of the B-sides. Maybe just do the first couple. But if you want to go all the way, you can do it. You can go all the way, and then, if you're fucking cracked out of your mind or willing to grind, you can do chapter 9.
Yeah, you got nothing going on in life, you fucking figure those out, dude.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
And then if you're a speedrunner, it's got perfect mechanics for that too. So it's just it caters to everyone.
Yeah,
so that's really nice.
It's pretty amazing.
I won't talk about any more B-sides because they're all basically the same in the sense, in the good way, in a sense that they take the mechanics, improve on them. Here's the level, go for it.
Yeah.
And because you haven't played the rest of them, there's no reason to talk
we
about
can't
them.
go further into it too much.
No,
yeah.
that's basically what they are. And I guess I'll just touch on the C-sides because you haven't played any of those.
Yeah.
I told you what they were. It's just 3 screens.
They're like flash challenges, but like extreme flash challenges.
They're like extremely hard, but they're only 3 screens long. They're the fucking chapter 7 seaside. I spent 2 hours at least on one screen. Such a hard screen, but I got so much better at the game doing it and learned the mechanics so well. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's actually, you could do the golden strawberries for the seasides because there's only 3 screens.
Yeah.
But golden strawberries for the beast. Oh, for people who don't know, golden strawberries start once you beat the. I don't know at what point, but very late into the game. Like once you've done a lot. I think maybe once you've beaten every seaside.
Yeah.
A golden strawberry will spawn at the beginning of every level, and you collect that thing. You don't get it right away. You have to beat the whole level without dying. If you die, you are back at the start. So that's like if you're nuts. I did some of them. I did the first few. I did chapter 1, 2, and 3, A and C side.
Yeah.
A, B, and C. And then I did chapter 4, A side.
I
didn't even get chapter 3 done. Just 1 and 2.
I've never found like don't get hit challenges interesting, so I wouldn't have even tried that.
It's like I don't know. That's not really.
It's just like I need to. This game has to. I want to have to be able to marry this game if I'm gonna try that shit. Like, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
Attached, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The levels are a little bit too long and hard. Like you could do it, but it'd become a grind. It would be a chore. It'd be for the glory only. It'd be for your pride only. There would be no fun in that for me personally. So I'm not gonna do that.
You're not that vain that you need that in your life.
Yeah, like any of the later B-sides, like the chapter 6, 7, 8 B-sides. Fuck that. That would literally take me like a week each, of like just grinding, to practice each individual section. It's hard. And then chapter 9 technically has a golden strawberry as well. It also has 1 bonus strawberry, which I don't really know that much about, but I know you do some like extra challenge at the end of the level. But the golden strawberry on chapter 9, I think like less than 10 people have probably done it ever.
Jesus Christ.
Because that is a 30-minute level.
Oh my
if
God.
Done without dying. Don't get me wrong. If you die, it's if you're a normal person, that's an 8-hour level.
Oh my God, that's
it is a
unbearable.
marathon. But it's a beautiful marathon. That is my favorite level in the game by far. Not by far, but it is my favorite level.
Nice.
Just the level design is the greatest. The challenge is perfect. It's beautiful. Okay. And the music is great too, which we will get to shortly.
Yeah. I
I just
have
wanted
like
to.
a couple chapters left that I can even talk about.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to touch on the sea. I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I just wanted to mention the seasides and how they're just harder, like even harder than B-sides, but they're very short. And yeah, those are fun in themselves. They're not. I don't like them as much as the B-sides because the B-sides are like this
Gauntlet.
perfect length, perfect difficulty. The C-side is kind of just this. Okay, here's a ridiculous single challenge. Now you have to do this, and it's like, okay, I can do it, but it's not. It doesn't reach that perfect upper right portion of the graph.
Yeah.
For me, that like this, you know. I wish I could. Maybe we'll put a picture of the graph on the screen where like we'll visualize it. The zone in the upper right where skill level and challenge meet perfectly. For me, the challenge is higher than the skill level, and you kind of just have to chip away at it until you barely do it.
You
for the
scrape
C-sides.
into the
Yeah. Still very fun challenges, but yeah, B-sides are my favorite. So I guess that's it for C. Let's go on to chapter 6.
Chapter 6, Reflection, probably the worst part of the game for me. Probably the worst.
Really?
Yes.
I guess I could have gleaned that from when we were talking about chapter 3,
let me,
but you
wait,
really didn't like it, huh?
Let me elaborate. The beginning of it, and like the first half of it, once you start clinging to rocks and like having to drag through it, that's really fun.
Sure.
Like, I even forgot that I was playing Celeste at that point. I was just having so much fun. But the beginning is like the most intolerably long fucking like exposition dump that I already told you is like so poorly done. It's like clicking options and shit like that. And then like you fall all the way down and it's just so boring and I don't care. And the level design at the beginning is just like so wide, and like you said earlier, there's like 6, like feels like 18 different fucking exits you could go through and explore, and then at a certain point, I was like, I hate the story so much. There's so many things to see that I kind of don't want to see any of it anymore. And I kind of just...
Overwhelming, right?
Yeah, it overwhelmed me completely. I think even if I liked the story and it was good, it would have still been overwhelming. It's like way too big and way too open.
I remember having to revisit that level and go through it with like a fine-tooth comb for the first half of it. But yeah, that level... Leaving the beginning aside, which I can somewhat agree with your argument for in terms of level design, and yeah, the exposition dump was a little much, but you know, I didn't mind. I was like, you know, here's the story, I'm absorbing it again, pretty neutral on it. But once you get to the actual level, the blocks that go when you hit into them, those are so fun. And then you have the little bumper guys, you bump into them and they push you.
No.
And you have the golden feather with the the little flight thing.
Yes.
3 new mechanics in the level. They all worked really well. And then they all after you get through the beginning and you learn all 3 and you go through the level, then you get to the boss fight and it culminates and you use all 3 of those mechanics, and it's just I love it.
It's pretty great, and it would have been better. I'm not gonna say that anymore. But
he's trying not to include the story in his gameplay analysis. He's trying to keep them separate, but there's they tie in to a certain extent, especially in this chapter.
Unfortunately, they do, and I appreciate the balls on that because they thought it was good, so they tied gameplay to it. It's just unfortunate it wasn't good. It was bad. And so I kind of like the game less because of the story. I know you're laughing, but I'm trying to be
I know,
respectful
but
as I can.
it's funny how much you hate the story, dude.
It's so bad.
I will always find that entertaining.
I'm glad someone can be entertained by that, my suffering. Yeah. I also didn't like the background in this, like the art itself in this level was like kind of a
I love the art in this level.
I don't know, maybe it's one of those things where I'm like it's a little above my head in terms of like
what? It was so vibrant and the colors popped and it was just
But we're supposed to be at
beautiful.
I know, but why is it so pretty? Like, we're supposed to be at like our lowest point and we failed completely.
That is true. Okay, in terms of symbolism, maybe it wasn't appropriate.
Maybe I don't get why it's so pretty down here. Like, is failing supposed to be like some sort of beautiful thing? Because it's not true.
Right. I think there was probably a disconnect between the level design and the story there.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of just let's make this pretty level, and then, this just so happens to be the level where you're at the lowest point.
On its own, it's fine. I think it looks really pretty, but there's so much foliage and shit everywhere that it kind of, it contributed to me being overwhelmed, too.
Right.
And, but but it wasn't appropriate story-wise, and it didn't feel like...
Yeah, are we gonna talk about the art? That's something we didn't even think about. I guess after this.
Just like with the... We'll talk about it alongside the music, because I have the same opinion on
Yeah,
both.
okay, well...
Did you like the B-side and C-side to Reflection? Just a quick
let me quickly touch on that. So,
Yeah, sure.
well, the last thing I'll say about the A-side is the boss battle was pretty long.
Yeah.
Like, it went on, and it kept going.
Bit.
It did drag a little bit, but I was having enough fun that it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The B-side was, again, met that perfect skill level versus difficulty rating for me. Like, at that point, with my current, like, skill set.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, my skill set got higher as the game went along.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Like, I actually... I fit right into the perfect, like I grew with the game's difficulty at a very good rate, so that was lucky for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the B-side was brilliant there. And the music was fucking awesome. You haven't heard the B-side for that, have you? 'Cause you haven't heard anything beyond Chapter 4.
I think I might have actually played one more B-side other than that, because
Hey,
I remember...
yeah.
Oh my god.
It's that one.
It's the fucking one that I hated. It's the one that I didn't like.
You didn't like that one?
I didn't like it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like you.
We'll
okay,
talk
but
about
we'll
it
get to the
after.
music.
Yeah.
We'll get to the music. We'll get to the
I don't
music.
like you either.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got sidetracked. I brought it up in the first place. But yeah, in terms of in terms of level design.
Yeah.
Like flawless execution for that B-side for me. And the C-side, there's no boss battle, obviously. I was actually thinking, how are they going to incorporate the boss battle? Or if there is, I don't remember it very well. It's like, I think I did that. Actually, I remember, I did that C-side very quick for no reason. I had like 20 deaths on it. Like, I did it really fast. So I actually don't remember that one at all. Some of the C-sides, by the time I got to C-sides, my mechanics were like a little bit above. It was weird in that the levels were very hard, but my mechanics were also up there. So it was this weird, there was this weird disconnect where my skill was worse than my mechanics. But so that made it so that the level design, like the levels, my mechanics were better than the levels, but the levels were better than me.
Yeah.
It was really weird. I had a weird dynamic going on there. But regardless, there was some C-sides took me hundreds of tries. Some of them took me like 20. It was really weird. Like, I'd either beat it right away or I wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. That's about it for Chapter 6. I don't really remember anything about the C-side. But the B-side perfectly reached the top of that graph for me.
The reason I say I think I might have played that B-side is because I remember having a lot of fun with some block challenges that weren't in A-side. So I think I might have found the tape and played that one, and then that's it.
Ah, okay. Maybe you didn't beat it?
I did beat it.
You did beat it?
I'm remembering
so you did that
now.
one.
Yeah. So
okay.
I guess I did one more other than the first 4, and it was really, really
fun.
So
you did the first 4 and the 6th one.
B-side is 1,000 times better than A-side from what I remember. A-side,
well,
again,
yeah, there's no like beginning exposition dump or anything. You just go right into the...
Not only just the story, but like the annoyance of like how overly expansive and like frustrating it is at the beginning. And then once you're about to start having fun, you get thrust into a boss battle that starts to drag a while. It's like that whole...
The pacing, I guess, is a little off.
Yeah, the pacing for Chapter 6, overall, it feels like another dip. If we were to reference another graph, there's many dips in the...
You know what? Yeah, maybe we should make our own graphs for this and stick it on screen for fun. Yeah.
I guess the only one that's left is the summit, because I didn't do...
There's 2 more. It's Chapter 7 and 8.
Yeah, 8 was just the ice and hot one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Let's just talk about the summit, because we're near the end.
Let's talk about summit, yeah.
I don't remember the summit too much. It was kind of
I think
cool.
you were probably so drained and just wanting to get done with the game at that point.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had to guess.
That's completely true.
If you don't remember, you climb up in increments of 500 meters.
Yeah.
And you go through like a section for each like of the previous chapters. And then,
it harkens back to like the old browser Celeste, right?
Yeah.
Like it's that.
No, not the browser one.
No, but in the browser one, when you climb to a new screen, it shows you how much in meters you've climbed up.
Oh yeah. In terms of that, yes,
yeah.
it does. Yeah. I thought you meant in terms of level design, but no. Yeah. So you go through the Forsaken, Forsaken City, and then you go through the next one, whatever Chapter 2 is called. I don't know what Chapter 2 is called. And then you go through the fucking hotel, and, every 500 meters you revisit that, and I love that trope.
And it was a good way to show that thing. Like, it could have been a good payoff for showing that once you're at peace with yourself, you can climb these hurdles a lot easier than you could.
Yeah, like you're just going so much faster and so much higher.
Yeah, you climb everything that took you hours before is only one level this time.
It's
cool. I like it. And yeah, that is a trope I like. I like revisiting everything before the finale. Yeah. It's nice.
That's very fun. And then yeah, once you get through like every single chapter, you actually climb like the top of the mountain, and it has the countdown like going on. Like you reach like the checkpoints, like the 20, 19, 18. It goes all the way, and then and then it teaches you that mechanic. Like right at the very end, right when you're like, that jump's impossible, and then no, it teaches it. That was such a good moment. And then you reach the top. It's nice and pretty up there. And
nice
you
trans
sure did it.
flag colors. Those are pretty. I was like, I was surprised. I was like, oh, they're trans. I was like, that's nice. Because again, I like whenever characters that are in that community.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, again, my boyfriend's trans, so I see those colors instantly. I'm thinking about like trans flag.
Right.
I was like,
that's nice.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good way to show what they are, like who they are, without shoving it down your throat, which is nice.
Yeah. Honestly, what did you think of the ending, like when they reach the very top? Like not the ending where they go to the house, but just when they reach the top.
Yeah, the house was garbage.
I know you hate that. Yeah.
I didn't feel anything because I didn't care. Like she's at the top and looking at the summit, and I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. The game's over.
I was in the same vein, but I was a little happier. I was kind of like, yeah, I did it.
Because you beat the game, but for me, it was like, oh, I got no ending that I cared about.
Yeah.
Like, I just suffered through all that. It's like, because usually in a game that's really hard, like Meat Boy, I get rewarded with that sense of accomplishment, and then getting to see the next level. In Celeste, I beat a really hard challenge, and I'm punished with a cutscene. It's like negative reinforcement.
That's something that you kept saying to me, like, while you're playing the game. You're like, I'm having a great time. I beat this awesome challenge, and then I get punished.
I get punished for enjoying my... Yeah. I'm like a little rat. I find the cheese, and then instead of getting to eat it, I get shocked by electricity.
Yeah.
I was like, what's my motivation for finishing the maze? I just get shocked? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end, I didn't care. I was like, she's fine on the summit.
Right. That's chapter 7.
That is
chapter 7 B-side is very hard, very fun. Chapter 7 C-side kicked my ass. The third screen, the final screen of that is absurdly difficult. Like, it's just this gauntlet of a screen. Beautiful. That one screen I died more on than like the entire first 4 levels combined, like on any sides. Like, it's just it's so long and hard, and it was so rewarding to beat that. I was so happy with myself. But I hope you get to experience that sooner or later. But maybe, it is what it is. Chapter 8.
What is chapter 8? That's not the epilogue, right? That's
the fire and ice one.
Yeah, I loved it. That was so fun. When I got to play it was really fun.
Such a good mechanic, yeah.
It didn't let me go all the way because I didn't have enough of its dumbass hearts or whatever. But
I
only got to see like half of it. I feel like, or maybe most of it. I don't know.
I thought that you could do the A side with only 4 hearts.
I got really far, and then I hit a barrier.
Well, yeah, that sucks. I don't remember because I would always complete everything I could and then move on. But that sucks.
What I played though, I did play a good chunk of it. It was really fun. I liked the limitation, and I kind of wish they hadn't started trying to deal with the death of a character I didn't give a shit about. Like,
right.
Not only that, but like you're trying to tackle death in this one chapter. Like,
are you talking about? Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you talking about chapter 9 right now?
Am I?
Chapter 9 is the giant wall that you can't get past.
Oh, but
chapter 8's the fire and ice one.
But in chapter 8, she's limited too, right? Like, she didn't have, like...
What?
Maybe I'm mixing them together. I don't know.
I think you're mixing them together.
Okay, well...
In chapter 8, there's a barrier at the beginning that's only 4 hearts. Or a very low number of hearts. And then you get to play that level. And there's no barrier later on. Chapter 9 is the barrier, like, before you learn the tech.
Oh, okay. Well, then whatever. Maybe I just got mixed up. I love the fire and ice shit. It was really fun. I don't have much else to say. It was a fire and ice mechanic. It was fun.
Yeah. I like how they kept building on it, like, as it went along.
Yeah. It was
like you hit the switch and then the lava starts rising, and you hit the switch again and the ice starts falling, and you gotta hit the switch back and forth as you go along throughout the level.
It was good shit.
It was good shit. And the very end is like that weird gravity thing where you fell off the bottom of the screen and you respawn at the top.
I don't remember that.
You might, I don't know that you might not have, I don't know what you've done and what you haven't, but
yeah, I don't know what
anyway,
I've done.
yeah, chapter 8 was just good. It was just fun. There's not much more to say about it.
Yeah.
Seaside on that kicked my ass too, though.
Nice.
Seaside chapter 7 and 8 in particular. They're third screens on both of them.
Yeah.
The 3 hardest screens in the game were those 2, and then the last screen of chapter 9. Like absurdly hard screens, but so
any last thoughts on chapter 9? Because I have none. I obviously.
Yeah, you have like none. No, just brilliant level design. It's hard to talk about it when you don't really know anything about it. Like the jellyfish guys, awesome mechanic. Just forces you to use tech through the whole level, which is awesome. Not many games do that.
Yeah.
Like you didn't get to experience that yet, but.
No, like I accidentally discovered some techs, but I didn't have to use them.
Yeah, you accidentally used some. I watched you play like one level and you did a wave dash on accident, but yeah, you're never forced to use it until late game. And yeah, chapter 9 is just the culmination of that. Again, that graph I was talking about. This game's so good at reaching the peak of that graph, the difficulty versus skill level. It teaches you the right mechanics at the right time, and then it introduces new level mechanics slowly that just let you build up your skill set. It's brilliant.
Nice.
It's perfect.
Sounds fun.
Not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but
I can play
it's
it
up
one
there.
day.
Yeah, I hope you come around to it. But you know, if you don't, you don't. If you do, you do.
I just got a small taste of the story, and it already seemed like it was not gonna go well.
Yeah, you immediately from the get-go did not like the story, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I could see where it was going already, because the things you mentioned, I'm like, those are all very prevalent things that are only going to get worse in your eyes.
Yeah.
I knew that you wouldn't like it as soon as you told me that you didn't like it.
I don't remember too much of what happened, but I remember like not only the death of Grandma Douchebag, that's her name. I don't know her real name. She died because she's old, and
Grandma. People
dying is sad. You know, simple things, because that's the writer's strong suit is simplicity. Their only strong suit. And like trying to deal, like they could barely even properly handle, they did not handle properly like anxiety disorders or any of those problems throughout the entire game, and it felt like they were gonna try and tackle death and not keeping up with like yourself and your mental like health in that final chapter. So what happened? Like, tell me what happened.
If I'm being honest with you,
yeah,
I don't really fucking remember. At the end, there's like you team up with somewhere through the level. Madeline gets mad at you. She's like, "Why are you doing this? You're dumbass."
Yeah.
And that felt like backwards character progression. Like it almost felt backwards from what they were doing before. So she leaves, but then at the very end she comes back, and then there's the little bird and Madeline both like work together. That's the last screen. It's the bird and Madeline. You have to reach them, and then you open up the next area, and then you reach them again, and they keep like pushing you forward. Okay. And if you die once, you go back to the very beginning. It's brutal. It's like a 5-minute screen. And then after that, you like reach the top and you accept that Grandma's dead or something. I don't fucking remember. I honestly don't care. I'm sorry.
Bad. Why are you sorry? I don't want you to care about this dumb ass story.
For anyone who's watching, I don't even remember. Like all that I remember about chapter 9, brilliant music, brilliant gameplay. Okay. Gorgeous.
Well, I mean,
now we can talk about the music.
Speaking of music.
Yeah, speaking of,
let's just match music and art, and then we can go play some tennis afterward. So we live in the same state of Canada. Does Canada have states?
We have provinces.
Yeah, you have provinces. Like in Twilight Princess, you have provinces.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's cool actually. If we're like, I'm like Zelda. Yeah, let's go. All right.
You live in Farron Province.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll start with mine because mine are negative and yours are more positive.
Do you want to do art first? Or let's do art first because it'll be quick.
Yeah, art. Generically good. I would never remember it if somebody tried to make me like try and describe it. It's very fluid. The animations are decent.
Yeah, the animations are good.
The sprites for the characters are a bit too squishy and too like nebulous. So when they do zoom-ins on them for like dramatic shots, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, I mean, If I was trying to take the game really seriously, the voices, like the little Animal Crossing voices, combined with like the, you know,
Blobby.
like you said, squishy, nebulous look of the character. I couldn't. I don't know if I could take it 100% serious.
But overall, the colors were nice.
Yes, the colors are very nice.
The colors were nice. The sprite art is good, but generically so.
Yeah.
I don't care about it. I don't care about the art in this game. It's nothing to me.
I think it's a great looking game. I like the map a lot. It's like a cool look to it. Like when you go up the mountain on the map, that's actually like one of my favorite things. I love level selects. I love world maps.
Me too. I do too.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I think this one is great. It's
as
not
long,
like my
as long
favorite,
as they're not too
it's
big.
up
I
there.
also love overworlds. Those are very fun to me.
Yes, overworlds are fantastic.
Overall,
that is a different topic for another day.
The art is good, but it's just, I don't know. It's like
It's generic for you.
I've seen thousands of indie games with this exact art, and I just don't care about it.
Okay. Here's the thing. I think the art itself, like at its core, is like you said, it's kind of generic. You know, you've seen it before, but I think the art design is good enough to bring out unique like properties, I guess.
Oh, well.
Like, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's
like
you.
I think
That's
Chapter 6 looks fantastic.
You know.
Just Forsaken City, the first level, just how it looks. I think the art design is fantastic.
Huh. Well, I guess
just the vibrant colors for the most part, or when it wasn't trying to be vibrant, like the Mirror Temple or Forsaken City.
It was no Hollow Knight with its color palette and darkness. It didn't. It didn't go that well.
I mean, I'm not saying it's my favorite looking game ever, but I think they did a good enough job, and I think it is unique enough. Like again, the base style is generic, but I think they made it unique enough.
I think it felt like there was a lot of, which is weird because it's just like an indie game. I don't know its backstory too much. You can tell we're professional reviewers. We didn't look anything up, but it feels like when how like all CGI in movies is very good now, no matter what. There's no one ever says, "Wow, that movie had good special effects," because everything has.
It's kind of like that from now. Like it's kind of like the standard is so high that like a good is just normal.
This game is the standard like CGI. It's like, oh, it's very well animated. Everything is shaded well. Everything looks pretty, because it has to, or else no one will care. It's like it's generically good. I feel like it had a good amount of funding, and that's like. It took care of it, but nobody, I don't know,
Sure,
it didn't feel
took care of it. I mean, that's not like its strong point for me, obviously. The gameplay landed that for me. But, I mean, I think it complemented it. I clearly like it more than you did.
Yeah, and I didn't have a problem with it. I just didn't connect.
You didn't have a problem, it just is what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel it.
I get you. So the music, this is where we're going to finally clash heads.
Before the music,
Yeah.
What about the actual art? Like when they take selfies, I hate that word. When they take selfies and shit like that, or like the cover art and all that, how do you feel about that?
That's kind of whatever for me.
I don't like it. That's when I was
really. It's
I think it's shallow, but I think that's a big part of why it took me so long to play this game, is because it felt like it came straight out of the bad side of Tumblr. Not that there's many good sides to Tumblr, but it felt like like it came out of the bad part. And I showed it to my boyfriend, and he was like, my boyfriend uses Tumblr a lot. Don't ask me why I'm also ashamed of him. He's ashamed of himself, it's fine. But like he said, this looks exactly like what I would expect out of a Tumblr artist. Like,
right.
And he's an actual artist, so I take his word on these things.
Yeah, I'd take his word for it too. I mean, the cover for me is enough, like enough personality, but like, it's kind of it's whatever for me.
Yeah, you're not a
the
big
actual
art guy.
pixel art and like level design, art design in the levels itself is where the art shines for me personally.
Yeah.
Outside of, I mean, like, I'm not an artist. I don't like knocking artists because I think most, if not all of them, work extremely hard and pour their heart and souls into it.
For every art form, though.
Maybe not. Yeah, but like, it's whatever to me.
It's best not to be too mean,
art.
but it's like, everything can be criticized because everything has a lot of work put into it. Like going softer on one is kind of demeaning to the others to me.
Yeah.
Like the writing, like as hard as I went on the writing, I can praise as much on like the game design and how hard it is to make a game. Like, wow, they are amazing, and I don't think that the writing deserved to be paired with something that good, because they both require effort. So I don't know. I'm fine with criticizing things. I just think as long as you keep it semi-professional,
reasonable, civil,
civil. I'm not
be a human.
I'm not attacking anyone. I have not sent a death threat to whoever wrote this game. I just didn't like the story. That's the end of it. But yeah. Okay, now we can go on to your favorite
here's where we
soundtrack of all
butt heads.
time.
Here's the versus mode
Yeah,
of this.
Yeah,
We're going head to head here.
You start off then. You start off.
I like the music, and this guy did not.
Thanks for coming to our video. That was the whole. Yeah.
that's the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought every single song just fit the atmosphere perfectly. It boosted my experience. Just it paired so well with the sound effects, with the level design, with the art. It just all flowed together into this. It's a beautiful soup. You put the music in there. It was the finishing touch. It was that extra spice it needed. Like you hear that first song. What is it? It's like the It's like this happy, you starting your adventure kind of music. That's not my favorite song, but it did like a good job starting it off.
For you, the music
set the
made
atmosphere
this
really well. Pardon me?
For you, the music made this game a delicious broth. For me, it made it into a Mura-chan ramen, like the dollar ones.
Yeah, the dollar store ones.
The music was the powder that you pour on it, the shitty cheap powder.
This guy thinks that he has a different feeling about the B-sides, but you think the A-side music was generic, don't you?
It matched the art style for me, which is generically good. It's music I've heard 1,000 times in 1,000 other games, and I don't care about it. It did not stick in my head.
I just don't understand how you can say that when it's so high quality.
Because it is. Because look at it, it's just high quality, but it doesn't have any soul. It doesn't have any
soul. What are you talking about? Have you heard the chapter 2 music? The do 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 do, and then it goes, and then it picks up. It picks up.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about right now. That's how little I remember.
And like it starts off all somber and quiet, and then like you find the mirror and you unlock the blocks, and then it picks up and it starts going like.
I'm shaking my head in disagreement right now. No.
You just, oh my goodness, I'm gonna listen to it right now. Now I want to listen to it.
You're gonna pollute our audio with generic music.
I'm gonna pollute our audio. That's right. There's nothing you can do about it.
Like I don't remember exactly where I heard it from, but like art should be something that makes you feel something. You know,
right.
That's a lot of something. Sorry about that, but like you could take a really a technically well-made piece of art, and that's nice and that's great, and everyone can compliment it. And then you can have an ugly, kind of shitty, weird piece of art, but it makes you feel something. And that is a better work of art to me than the really precisely, technically well done one to me.
Sure, and I agree with that, which is why this lends both. It's technical and it's like well executed, and it's interesting. Like
I didn't get the interest.
It just fits so well. Like when you find Battleline, like for the first time when she comes out, and then the music like slows down, and then when she starts chasing you, it picks up and goes, and it's like it's such a swing from what it was before.
My biggest
proof, so good.
My biggest proof for this is that I just don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the big difference. You don't even know what song I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I can vaguely remember it because, like I told you, a lot of the main music of Celeste. I was gonna say Celestine. That's a song from No More Heroes 2. The main music of Celeste is it's occasionally it starts getting weird and really cool, and then it goes back to generic good. And I don't care about it.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All the way through.
It's good sometimes.
Just a hard disagree mode.
It's good. It's good at points, and then it's generically good at the rest of the time. And I don't care about generic good. It doesn't.
I don't get it.
It doesn't touch my heart. It doesn't get in my playlist. It doesn't sleep with
It got in my playlist. Some of them got in there, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I would never go to bed with Celeste soundtrack. Not once. I would go to bed with Bug Fables soundtrack. I just played that, and I can remember a whole lot of songs from that game. That had a lot of soul and fun and just like great music in it. And Celeste,
okay, you know what? I'll give you a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
Not every single song is a hit for me. I can't remember like the chapter 4 music or some of the chapter 8 music. The chapter 8 music was kind of just it was more like ambience. You're in a volcano. But no, oh man, chapter 7 is so good. The summit? The summit's so good.
Before you start orgasming over whatever the fuck the summit sounds like. I don't know what the hell that is. But I will agree that while I don't like it and I don't think it's good on its own in a vacuum, I think it's good ambience. Most of the music fits wherever it's trying to be.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
Not all music has to be a banger for, like... There was one song, this is a tangent, it'd probably get cut. But it's like, remember that, like, the last chapter in Bug Fables that you didn't like the music?
Yeah.
It was
it's
so...
just ambient?
Yeah, it was so drastically different from everything else in the game that it made me feel a little scared, and I loved it.
Right.
I would never download that song, but it was ambience. No. It was great.
Yeah. So it fit. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
A lot of
Chapter
Celeste
7 music
is that.
It's such a, like, hype up when you're climbing up the mountain. And, like, I know that, like, this is probably actually a disconnect for you because...
Yeah.
You didn't like the story, and, like, you didn't feel anything climbing the mountain. So for you, it wasn't special. It didn't add to it.
Not only did I not feel anything, I was annoyed. I was actually
annoyed. You did feel things. You felt negative things.
I was feeling negative, and then they were like, "Aren't we epic?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna punch you in the face right now. I hate you."
Yeah.
Like you're trying.
An epic song.
Like the song's epic, but it doesn't belong in this game's story. It's like it thinks it's epic, but it's not.
For you, it perfectly missed because the story missed. That makes sense.
The story missed so hard, and this song is so full of itself that it can never fit with the story. It just can't.
I get you. That makes sense. Yeah. And then you haven't heard it, but the B-side for Chapter 7 is such a perfect remix of it. It perfectly encapsulates that. You're fucking in that zone and you're trying your hardest and you're getting through this insane level. It just perfectly encapsulates it. I gotta send you that song actually. That one and then my favorite song in the whole game is the Chapter 5 B-side. The shout outs to 2Mellow, the remix of it. Bum 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 bum. What a fucking good song. I didn't even like Chapter 5's like A-side that much. That one was fine. Like it was kind of just, ambient boom 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 boom. But then they 2Mellow just took that and fucking went wild with it. It's a fucking
even
song.
The B-sides, which I liked much better than the normal music, I didn't download anything. Like it's fine.
It's just a couple of them for me. Like okay, I'm gushing pretty hard here, but like a lot of that is because I think it fits the game so well. Like in terms of downloading these songs on their own.
Yeah.
I did buy the soundtrack to like support the game, but I only actually would want to listen to like 3, 4, maybe 5 songs.
In a vacuum, yeah.
In a vacuum, yeah. Like only a portion, only like a small portion of it. Like this isn't like my favorite soundtrack of all time or anything, but like it's got some really good shit in there. Chapter 9's music is phenomenal, if you ask me.
I'll take your word for it, because I wasn't there.
Yeah. You'll maybe get there.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Overall,
agree to disagree. It's kind of funny how, like you were talking about how it's the ramen store broth for you. It's kind of like for me, everything else was good. The story was whatever. The story, like, what's a fucking ingredient that I don't care about, like if it's there or not. Just fucking in a soup, carrots. I don't care about carrots.
Yeah, like
the story was carrots
soggy carrots. You can get around.
For me, it's just carrots. The carrots are there. If they weren't there, I would enjoy it just as much. They're there, it doesn't make a difference to me. That's what the story was. But everything else was just a delicious ingredient.
And the story for me was like if I was eating a soup and then someone took a shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like here's like the music was already like the cheap ramen broth, and then you put a shitty ingredient in there too.
Yeah. Somebody put
so like they didn't jive.
They put like donkey testicles in my soup for no reason. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing now? Trying to eat here, and I just can't.
Yeah, you had like these beautiful ramen noodles, and then like some nice meat in there.
I got a handy from the waitress. I got like a discount coupon. Everything's perfect, and then they take a fat shit in the soup, and it just ruins the night.
the fucking cook just pulls down his pants and goes for it.
Takes a fucking fat dump on it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. But yeah, overall, I think Celeste is a good game with a horrible story that might impede somebody's joy if they're like me, but overall...
If they're like you.
Yeah, overall, I think most people are more like you. They're not as affected by story if the game wants you to focus on it. You can just skip it, like that little baby carrot you don't care about in your soup.
Yeah,
You push it to the side and eat the goddamn soup, you don't care. But for me...
That's what I'm saying.
It's the big dump in the soup that ruins the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a big fucking turd sitting in your soup.
You're trying to...
Makes the rest of it hard to eat.
And everyone, I might be starving and like I haven't eaten in weeks, and I eat around the turd, and I'm like, yeah, this was a good soup. Oh shit, I got some turd in there that time, and it's just like, oh, well, whatever. That was a disgusting analogy, but that's how I felt.
That is kind of gross, yeah. But I mean, it works. It gets your point across.
Yeah. So overall,
I think that's about it.
Overall good game.
Overall for you?
Yeah, overall good game with bad story.
Me, you take this, you know, this indie project. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, it looks pretty good. I get in there, first level immediately great, and then for the most part just builds from there. Small dips here and there, but for the most part just keeps on building, just keeps on getting better.
Yeah.
Brilliant, beautiful gameplay. Pulled me in. The art design in particular, and then the music in particular. I do like the B-side music better for the most part. There are some A-sides I like a lot. Like, again, Chapter 2 and Chapter 7 stand out as favorites of mine. They just accentuate it. They bring it out even further. They create the right atmosphere for me. It just nails it on the head for me. Everything, I don't care about the story. Again, it's the baby carrots in my soup. It's there. If it wasn't there, I wouldn't care. It would be just as good as a game for me. Yeah, not a flawless game, obviously, but
and for me,
still,
it's
a solid
game.
9 out of 10 for me.
I guess like I'll elaborate a tiny bit more on my recommendation. It's a flawed game with the graphics, the art style. The graphics are good, but like that's the problem. Like it's like Marvel movies. They're good, but who cares? I'm not gonna.
You just consume it, and that was that.
You
like,
consume
it,
it
was good,
and
but
you move
there's
on.
Nothing special for you.
You consume it and move on. You don't get 15 T-shirts of it. You don't buy like an $800 statue of it. You just play it and move on. And I wish it was more, because the gameplay and level design is so amazing that it deserved more unique aspects in the other sides of the game. When it comes to the art, the music, the story, I feel like it deserved better, and it just didn't get anything better for me. So
for him. Yeah, I guess
I still recommend it though. I still recommend it. On sale, don't buy it full price.
For me. Yeah, if you like platformers, you will like the gameplay at the very least. I can guarantee any platformer fan will like the gameplay.
We both love platformers.
We both love platformers.
It's like our jam.
Yeah,
There you go.